Welcome back to the channel, guys. In this video, I just have a bunch of odds and ends that I need to do onto this car in order to make it a little bit better than what it is, fix a couple things. So we're just going to be doing a couple of different adjustments. I'm going to start by replacing the wipers on this car. I got to get those replaced. I also do need to top off my windshield wiper fluid in here. We'll do that. I do have the car jacked up right now. I do need to adjust the coilover here on the driver rear. This one sets almost too low. I think the suspension may have settled a little bit. I can't really show you the gap right now because it's jacked up. But you will notice, if you do look at this, there's a spot of wear all the way on the outside of this wheel from where this is rubbing with the inside wheel well liner in here. This does poke in here a little bit, and because there's not enough space in between here, and with that spacer that I had on the wheel that pushed it out, this just merely rubs and scrapes up against this when you do go over certain bumps and dips, and you can hear it scraping. Now, I just noticed this happen not too long ago. It's not a big deal, but definitely something that you do got to keep your eye out for, because this could have significantly damaged this wheel a lot worse. And if I don't do anything, then this could have been really bad for me here. So we're gonna raise this side up, bring it up just a hair, and hopefully give us that clearance that we will need for this. I also did order some floor liner mats for the car that I do need. I don't have any mats in here right now. My feet are always making a mess out of the floor and getting it dirty. It'll be really nice to get those. Once I get those, I might do some custom embroidery with them. See what I can do, but nonetheless, I do have some mats on the way. I also did just install my HID headlights, and I do have a little bit of cleaning up to do with the wiring. I was in a little bit of a rush when I did them, but this harness just needs to be tucked up in here a little bit better. I will do that as well and try to get the rest of that cleaned up over there for that wiring. Other than that, that's just a couple of the things that I wanted to tidy up. So let's get started on these, starting with the wipers first. I need to swap these wipers out. They just smear and they don't actually clean the windshield like they're supposed to. So I have some other ones that I picked up here, just some Michelin ones. So the stock sizing, so I have an 18-inch and a 26-inch. Just get these popped off, and then we're just gonna throw these ones on real quick. This style of wiper is pretty easy. You'll just come right here, and this cap right here on top just pops right up. So just get a screwdriver underneath, come underneath it, just carefully pry this part up, just like so. And then once you have that, you can pull your wiper up, and then it should just slide back. And then you should be able to get this off of the track. I'm gonna use both hands for it, but other than that, it's basically off. As far as putting on, I'll get the camera set up here. We have our new wiper. There's this little window tab right here. This just clips over, but we're going to take the wiper, set it down just like this. This is how it's going to go into this little hook. We're gonna feed this hook into this top part. I'll show you right here. And then we're basically just gonna slide this into place on there. Right there. So you can see this is now in the middle. Now we're going to just take this assembly and pull it this way in order to hook it in, just like so. So now there's a little gap here, and then we'll just take this cover piece, flip it over the top, and lock that in. So that's nice and secure. We'll take off this yellow strip here that we don't need anymore for the protection, and we'll do the same on the other side over there. New wipers are on here, and these are set and ready to go. Now we're just gonna top off the windshield wiper fluid. I do keep getting a light on my dash every time I start the car to remind me to fill this up. I just haven't got around to it. So let's top this off here. That'll hopefully take care of our dash light. Let's move on to this wheel here. We'll get this wheel popped off and get the suspension out of here. We just need to basically loosen and take off the bottom part of the main strut, and then the actual coil part. We'll just compress this down, and we'll be able to remove that so we can make some quick adjustments on it. We have our spring now out. Before we do anything with this, you can see kind of in the threads Everything's pretty gritty. It's kind of dirty. We're gonna take just some brake clean. We're gonna spray it in here. We don't want to have issues when we go to move these collars with these getting stuck or seized up or anything like that. So just clean these out. We'll give them a quick cleaning, and then we'll make a slight adjustment and test this out on the car. Now, since we are loosening this, this is normally going to be the top portion right here. If we just pull this directly off, so we're looking at it like this, instead of these collars going down and us tightening these on here, basically these are going to go up. So we're going to need to loosen this. We'll loosen this top collar, get this broken loose, and we're going counterclockwise with this. There's the gap that's in between them, and then we'll just take this bottom collar and just chase it right after it. Tighten this up, and we're gonna go trial this out on the car, and then make sure it's okay. Once it's okay, then we can tighten these down with our collars and make sure everything is nice and snug. Let's lower this jack all the way down and see what this gap is. There is our gap. Clearance wise, it actually does seem a lot better. Before, it was about a 1 finger gap that it seemed like it reduced to. Right now we're at about 2 fingers, and like I'd mentioned before, that's what I like. Let's go check our other side and kind of compare it. I believe this one was about the correct gap. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's much better. That's about right in line with the other side. I'm happy with that. That little bit of clearance right there and the difference, I guess I didn't measure it before, but it was about a 1 finger gap. Should make all the difference, and it should keep us from damaging this wheel any more than what it is. I'm not super worried about this, but kind of does bug me a little bit though. We'll get our spanner wrenches out, tighten those up. The other thing we're gonna do too, to hopefully help with this issue, is we're gonna tighten up the adjustable spring tightening up here. We're just gonna move this 1 click to hard. So we'll just kind of follow along accordingly. Hard is going to be clockwise. All right, just 1 click. I'll do the same thing on the other side too, so that way we're actually gonna do 2 clicks. We'll do 2 clicks. And I'll make sure to do the same thing on the other side too as well, so that way the rears are both even. The other thing we could look at doing too as well, inside of the actual wheel hub right here, there's this piece right up here at the top. You can see this whole entire lip right here. What we could do is get a fender roller and basically roll that in, and that would prevent this from catching on the outside of that tire and keep it from chewing it up. That's a possibility that we could do. Let's move on to our bay up here and start tidying up all this wiring. I have the ballasts. I like where these are at. Great location in my opinion. Don't think I'm gonna have any issues there. This wire, it just tucks over the motor mount basically right here. I don't think that'll be an issue. I kind of have it wedged in between right there. It shouldn't fall out, but I'm just gonna try to like add this to my other factory loom that I have in here as best as I can. Try to zip tie it up. I'm just gonna do a time lapse for this, and I'll show you what it looks like at the end. This side is all good and set to go. I zip tied up one of the loose wires right there. This is just routed within the engine mount. I was able to put everything back into the loom over here, reclip this connection in, threw another zip tie over in here, and then this is basically just kind of routed along where the other back loom is on the wall. The only difference is I put it behind these little connectors here. It's pretty secure. It's not gonna fall out of those or anything. It just would have been too much to fit inside of any of this wiring up here. And then if we come over here, so here it is on the back wall again, kind of routing under here. What I'm gonna do is just pull this fuse out, or this relay out right here, and then we're gonna tuck this behind. And I think this is gonna be the cleanest way to do it. Tuck this back into there. Clip this back in, just like so. And then we'll kind of route this where these other ones are back into here, hide it as best as we can. I just need to figure out where exactly I'm going to put my relay that's hanging loose right here. I ended up zip tying that wire from over there just up here on the back part, and then this part I literally just folded it over and kind of tucked it underneath the strut tower right here. It hides it pretty well. If I did ever need to replace this relay, it's pretty easy to get to. It's just right there, just pop it right up. I am gonna keep a couple extra relays on hand just to be safe. I don't want anything going on with my headlights. If that relay blows, both of my headlights are gonna be out, so I will not have any lighting from those. And then I also do have my other accessory lights also on relays. So there's a lot of stuff running on those. That's why I'm gonna keep a couple extra on hand. I'd like to pick up a couple more of those HID bulbs. The 55 watts do run pretty hot, and the lifespan is just not going to be that of 35 watt bulbs. So we're gonna pick up some new bulbs too as well to have as backups for these. They're not enjoyable to replace. It's gonna be quite a bit of work if they do end up burning out, but I would just like to have them on hand to be safe. Other than that, that pretty much is gonna complete the bay. I'm just gonna do one last thing. We're just gonna clean up all this clutter on top right here, get all these leaves out of here with just a shop vac, clean this up, and that's gonna be about it for today. I did end up swapping this decision over here with that one harness. I ended up pulling this reservoir tank, just lifting it up and routing it underneath. I think it's just a little bit more secure because it has nowhere to go when it's underneath there.